Hello, Yahuwah. Hello, Yahuwah. Okay. So, many people use the internet for I was gonna say different things. They probably use it for the same thing, same slash different. But I'm a historian. First and foremost, I'm a child of the Most High El, the creator of the universe, right? So, daughter of the king. With that being said, oh my goodness. So yes, historian, area expertise, my favorite subject, history. Got straight A's in school. So I grew a love for history. Um, Everything in my life just culminated to that. I didn't really pick history. History picked me. Um, the Most High picked me, but so yeah, I'm a historian. I like to study, and yeah, so mm, I normally be hiding from people. People that used to be on the internet a lot. Now, I've hid everywhere where people are. So, but the reason why I be on here is for healing videos for myself. Also, for as a historian, I want to make videos for my descendants as they're doing studies and stuff or whatever reason. Some of the stuff, part of the idea, my daughter said that she wanted to make a bedtime story for her children. And for that, I wanted to help her. So I was gonna she wanted me to buy her a camera so she could record her life, so she could remember, so she could write a book for her kids later. So my daughter kind of inspired me there, to make videos for my grandchildren. You know, yeah, that's mostly my daughter's. My daughter be having some awesome ideas. Um, Shout out to Alea. Um, so yeah, that's what this video is. I was already doing healing videos, not videos. I was doing healing videos, but before that, just trying to get on the routine because I was recovering. I'm recovering from memory loss. Doing pretty well. Doing pretty well. Sometimes I do have relapses. I realize when I get around my family that that is a whole shutdown. And then certain like dealing with and remembering certain things, but trying to get over and move past that. Um, Most of my videos, his the key points is all first and foremost always for Yah and to share, you know, his kingdom glory. Second, as I study and learn, because we are all students, it is all our job to learn and have a relationship with him for ourselves, and then we fellowship. So this is me and a student and my student platform. One day my daughter is going to watch these, or she can make videos and I can watch her videos as she is a student in life. We are all students in life. So the way that my brain imagines this is I am a student in life, which I am. The Most High is going to judge all of us on Judgment Day. Everything we do, it is being accounted for. So I'm also having a record, where I can monitor myself and grow from, because as I'm living each day, especially my life, getting beat in my head and stuff all the time, I don't have, my brain is a lifetime of fight and flight mode. I don't have the capacity right now to sit down and just think about a lot of things. Though now I'm safe, things have been coming up a lot. So these videos are to help me first and foremost to grow. I mean, not secondly, because the Most High first and foremost. So secondly, for me to grow, and then third, like I said, historical record for my children and grandchildren. I'm also working on a history project, studying the genealogy of creation from Yah to me. Um, and so yeah, and I'm just going to be recording. I don't normally talk much because I have been isolated a lot of my life. So, like, I can narrate, I can answer questions, but like relationship type stuff, I don't know because I've had few um I've had few relationships because the abusive relationships, those weren't really relationships. Um and my whole upbringing was very abusive. I don't know what generation of, because from slavery, but my mom was very abused. So I can't say like my granddad's generation wasn't abused because our generations go back to slavery. That's how we got here. So my mom was being abused from a young age. My mom literally told me a few days ago, she laughed at me and said, grow up, like, bitch, get used to the abuse. She told me to grow up. Bitch, I'm never coming to see you again. Told me to grow up. Like, accept the abuse. Accept that I'm never coming to see you again. How about that? But I'm studying, so I'm about to be playing the Book of Jasher because I'm going over the genealogy.
Author is unknown. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Recording by C.J. Pogue. The Book of Jasher. This is the book of the generations of men whom God created upon the earth on the day when the Lord God made heaven and earth. Chapter 1. And God said, let us make man in our image, after our likeness. And God created man in his own image. And God formed man from the ground, and he blew to his nostrils the breath of life. And man became a living soul endowed with speech. And the Lord said, it is not good for man to be alone. I will make unto him a helpmate. And the Lord caused a deep sleep to fall upon Adam, and he slept, and he took away one of his ribs, and he built flesh upon it, and formed it, and brought it to Adam. And Adam awoke from his sleep, and behold, a woman was standing before him. And he said, this is a bone of my bones, and it shall be called woman, for this has been taken from man. And Adam called her name Eve, for she was the mother of all living. And God blessed them, and called their names Adam and Eve in the day that he created them. And the Lord God said, be fruitful, and multiply, and fill the earth. And the Lord God took Adam and his wife, and he placed them in the Garden of Eden to dress it, and to keep it. And he commanded them, and said unto them, from every tree of the garden you may eat, but from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil you shall not eat, for in the day that you eat thereof you shall surely die. And when God had blessed and commanded them, he went from them. And Adam and his wife dwelt in the garden according to the command which the Lord had commanded them. And the serpent which God had created with them in the earth came to them to incite them to transgress the command of God, which he had commanded them. And the serpent enticed and persuaded the woman to eat from the tree of knowledge. And the woman hearkened to the voice of the serpent, and she transgressed the word of God, and took from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, and she ate. And she took from it, and gave also to her husband, and he ate. And Adam and his wife transgressed the command of God, which he commanded them, and God knew it. And his anger was kindled against them, and he cursed them. And the Lord God drove them that day from the Garden of Eden to till the ground from which they were taken. And they went and dwelt at the east of the Garden of Eden. And Adam knew his wife Eve, and she bore 2 sons and 3 daughters. And she called the name of the firstborn Cain, saying, I have obtained a man from the Lord. And the name of the other she called Abel, for she said, in vanity we came into the earth, and in vanity we shall be taken from it. And the boys grew up, and their father gave them a possession in the land, and Cain was a tiller of the ground, and Abel a keeper of the sheep. And it was at the expiration of a few years that they brought an approximating offering to the Lord, and Cain brought from the fruit of the ground, and Abel brought from the firstlings of his flock, from the fat thereof. And God turned and inclined to Abel and his offering, and a fire came down from the Lord from heaven and consumed it. And unto Cain and his offering the Lord did not turn, And he did not incline to it, for he had brought from the inferior fruit of the ground before the Lord. And Cain was jealous against his brother Abel on account of this, and he sought a pretext to slay him. And in some time after, Cain and Abel his brother went one day into the field to do their work. And they were both in the field, Cain tilling and plowing his ground, and Abel feeding his flock. And the flock passed that part which Cain had plowed in the ground, and it sorely grieved Cain on this account. And Cain approached his brother Abel in anger, and said unto him, What is there between me and thee, that thou comest to dwell and bring thy flock to feed in my land? And Abel answered his brother Cain, and said unto him, What is there between me and thee, that thou shalt eat the flesh of my flock, and clothe thyself with their wool? And now therefore put off the wool of my sheep with which thou hast clothed thyself, and recompense me for their fruit and flesh, which thou hast eaten. And when thou shalt have done this, I will then go from thy land as thou hast said. And Cain said to his brother Abel, Surely if I slay thee this day, who will require thy blood from me? And Abel answered Cain, saying, Surely God, who has made us in the earth, he will avenge my cause, and he will require my blood from thee shouldst thou slay me. For the Lord is the judge and the arbiter, and it is he who will requite man according to his evil, and the wicked man according to the wickedness that he may do upon earth. And now if thou shouldest slay me here, surely God knoweth thy secret views, and will judge thee for the evil which thou didst declare to do unto me this day. And when Cain heard the words which Abel his brother had spoken, behold, the anger of Cain was kindled against his brother Abel for declaring this thing. And Cain hastened and rose up and took the iron part of his plowing instrument, with which he suddenly smote his brother, and he slew him. And Cain spilled the blood of his brother Abel upon the earth, and the blood of Abel streamed upon the earth before the flock. And after this Cain repented, having slain his brother, and he was sadly grieved, and he wept over him, and it vexed him exceedingly. And Cain rose up and dug a hole in the field wherein he put his brother's body, and he turned the dust over it. And the Lord knew what Cain had done to his brother. And the Lord appeared to Cain and said unto him, Where is Abel thy brother that was with thee? And Cain dissembled and said, I do not know. Am I my brother's keeper? And the Lord said unto him, What hast thou done? The voice of thy brother's blood crieth unto me from the ground where thou hast slain him. For thou hast slain thy brother, and hast dissembled before me, and didst imagine in thy heart that I saw thee not, nor knew all thy actions. But thou didst this thing, and didst slay thy brother for naught, and because he spoke rightly to thee. And now, therefore, cursed be thou from the ground which opened its mouth to receive thy brother's blood from thy hand, and wherein thou didst bury him. And it shall be, when thou shalt till it, it shall no more give to thee its strength, as in the beginning. For thorns and thistles shall the ground produce, and thou shalt be moving and wandering in the earth until the day of thy death. And at that time Cain went out from the presence of the Lord from the place where he was, and he went moving and wandering in the land towards the east of Eden, he and all belonging to him. And Cain knew his wife in those days, and she conceived and bare a son, and he called his name Enoch, saying, In that time the Lord began to give him rest and quiet in the earth. And at that time Cain also began to build a city, and he built the city, and he called the name of the city Enoch, according to the name of his son. For in those days the Lord had given him rest upon the earth, and he did not move about and wander as in the beginning. And Irad was born to Enoch, and Irad begat Mehujael, and Mehujael begat Methusael. End of chapter 1. Chapter 2 of the Book of Jasher. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Recording by C.J. Plogue. Chapter 2. And it was in the 130th year of the life of Adam upon the earth that he again knew Eve his wife. And she conceived and bare a son in his likeness and in his image. And she called his name Seth, saying, Because God has appointed me another seed in the place of Abel, for Cain has slain him. And Seth lived 105 years, and he begat a son. And Seth called the name of his son Enosh, saying, Because in that time the sons of men began to multiply, and to afflict their souls and hearts by transgressing and rebelling against God. And it was in the days of Enosh that the sons of men continued to rebel and transgress against God, to increase the anger of the Lord against the sons of men. And the sons of men went, and they served other gods, and they forgot the Lord who had created them in the earth. And in those days the sons of men made images of brass and iron, wood and stone, and they bowed down and served them. And every man made his god, and they bowed down to them. And the sons of men forsook the Lord all the days of Enosh and his children. And the anger of the Lord was kindled on account of their works and abominations which they did in the earth. And the Lord caused the waters of the river Gihon to overwhelm them, and he destroyed and consumed them. And he destroyed the third part of the earth. And notwithstanding this, the sons of men did not turn from their evil ways, and their hands were yet extended to do evil in the sight of the Lord. And in those days there was neither sowing nor reaping in the earth, and there was no food for the sons of men, and the famine was very great in those days. And the seed which they sowed in those days in the ground became thorns, thistles, and briars. For from the days of Adam was this declaration concerning the earth of the curse of God, which he cursed the earth, on account of the sin which Adam sinned before the Lord. And it was when men continued to rebel and transgress against God, and to corrupt their ways, that the earth also became corrupt. And Enosh lived 90 years, and he begat Canaan. And Canaan grew up, and he was 40 years old, and he became wise, and had knowledge and skill in all wisdom, and he reigned over all the sons of men, and he led the sons of men to wisdom and knowledge. For Canaan was a very wise man, and had understanding in all wisdom, and with his wisdom he ruled over spirits and demons.
Bernie Moreno sold out Ohio workers who lost their jobs by selling Chinese-made cars.
That feeling when you discover an epically whitening charcoal toothpaste? She means holy spit. Hello. God doesn't care if you're mad and angry. He wants you to talk to him either way. So I got down on my knees and I started praying. I let it all out. I yelled.
And Canaan knew by his wisdom that God would destroy the sons of men for having sinned upon the earth, and that the Lord would in the latter days bring upon them the waters of the flood. And in those days Canaan wrote upon tablets of stone what was to take place in time to come, and he put them in his treasures. And Canaan reigned over the whole earth, and he turned some of the sons of men to the service of God. And when Canaan was 70 years old, he begat 3 sons and 2 daughters, and these are the names of the children of Canaan. The name of the firstborn, Malalel, the second, Enan, the third, Mered, and their sisters were Ada and Zillah. These are the 5 children of Canaan that were born to him. And Lamech, the son of Methuselah, became related to Canaan by marriage, and he took his 2 daughters for his wives. And Ada conceived and bare a son to Lamech, and she called his name Jabal. And she again conceived and bare a son, and called his name Jubal. And Zillah, her sister, was barren in those days, and had no offspring. For in those days the sons of men began to trespass against God, and to transgress the commandments which he had commanded to Adam to be fruitful and multiply in the earth. And some of the sons of men caused their wives to drink a draught that would render them barren, in order that they might retain their figures, and whereby their beautiful appearance might not fade. And when the sons of men caused some of their wives to drink, Zillah drank with them, and the childbearing women appeared abominable in the sight of their husbands, as widows, whilst their husbands lived, for to the barren ones only they were attached. And in the end days and years, when Zillah became old, the Lord opened her womb. And she conceived and bare a son, and she called his name Tubal-Cain, saying, After I had withered away have I obtained him from the Almighty God. And she conceived again and bare a daughter, and she called her name Naamah, for she said, After I had withered away have I obtained pleasure and delight. And Lamech was old and advanced in years, and his eyes were dim, that he could not see. And Tubal-Cain his son was leading him. And it was one day that Lamech went into the field, and Tubal-Cain his son was with him. And whilst they were walking in the field, Cain the son of Adam advanced towards them. For Lamech was very old and could not see much, And Tubal-Cain his son was very young. And Tubal-Cain told his father to draw his bow, and with the arrows he smote Cain, who was yet far off, and he slew him, for he appeared to them to be an animal. And the arrows entered Cain's body, although he was distant from them, and he fell to the ground and died. And the Lord requited Cain's evil according to his wickedness which he had done to his brother Abel, according to the word of the Lord which he had spoken. And it came to pass when Cain had died, that Lamech and Tubal went to see the animal which they had slain, and they saw, and behold, Cain their grandfather was fallen dead upon the earth. And Lamech was very much grieved at having done this, and in clapping his hands together he struck his son and caused his death. And the wives of Lamech heard what Lamech had done, and they sought to kill him. And the wives of Lamech hated him from that day, because he slew Cain and Tubal-Cain. And the wives of Lamech separated from him and would not hearken to him in those days. And Lamech came to his wives, and he pressed them to listen, to hear him about this matter. And he said to his wives, Adah and Zillah, Hear my voice, O wives of Lamech, attend to my words, for now you have imagined and said that I slew a man with my wounds, and a child with my stripes, for their having done no violence. But surely know that I am old and gray-headed, and that my eyes are heavy through age, and I did this thing unknowingly. And the wives of Lamech listened to him in this matter, and they returned to him with the advice of their father Adam. But they bore no children to him from that time, knowing that God's anger was increasing in those days against the sons of men, to destroy them with the waters of the flood for their evil doings. And Mahalalel the son of Canaan lived 65 years, and he begat Jared. And Jared lived 62 years, and he begat Enoch. End of chapter 2. Chapter 3 of the Book of Jasher. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by C.J. Ploak. Chapter 3. And Enoch lived 65 years, and he begat Methuselah. And Enoch walked with God after having begat Methuselah, and he served the Lord and despised the evil ways of men. And the soul of Enoch was wrapped up in the instruction of the Lord, in knowledge and in understanding, and he wisely retired from the sons of men, and secreted himself away from them for many days. And it was at the expiration of many years, whilst he was serving the Lord, and praying before him in his house, that an angel of the Lord called to him from heaven, and he said, Here am I. And he said, Rise, and go forth from thy house, and from the place where thou dost hide thyself, and appear to the sons of men, in order that thou mayest teach them the way in which they should go, and the work which they must accomplish to enter in the ways of God. And Enoch rose up according to the word of the Lord, and went forth from his house, from his place, and from the chamber in which he was concealed. And he went to the sons of men, and taught them the ways of the Lord, and at that time assembled the sons of men, and acquainted them with the instruction of the Lord. And he ordered it to be proclaimed in all places where the sons of men dwelt, saying, Where is the man who wishes to know the ways of the Lord and good works? Let him come to Enoch. And all the sons of men then assembled to him, for all who desired this thing went to Enoch. And Enoch reigned over the sons of men according to the word of the Lord. And they came and bowed to him, and they heard his word. And the Spirit of God was upon Enoch, and he taught all his men the wisdom of God and his ways. And the sons of men served the Lord all the days of Enoch, and they came to hear his wisdom. And all the kings of the sons of men, both first and last, together with their princes and judges, came to Enoch when they heard of his wisdom. And they bowed down to him, and they also required of Enoch to reign over them, to which he consented. And they assembled in all 130 kings and princes, and they made Enoch king over them, and they were all under his power and command. And Enoch taught them wisdom, knowledge, and the ways of the Lord, and he made peace amongst them, and peace was throughout the earth during the life of Enoch. And Enoch reigned over the sons of men 243 years, and he did justice and righteousness with all his people, and he led them in the ways of the Lord. And these are the generations of Enoch: Methuselah, Elisha, and Elimelech, 3 sons, and their sisters were Malchah and Naamah. And Methuselah lived 87 years, and he begat Lamech. And it was in the 56th year of the life of Lamech when Adam died. 930 years old was he at his death, and his two sons with Enoch and Methuselah his son buried him with great pomp, as at the burial of kings in the cave which God had told him. And in that place all the sons of men made a great mourning and weeping on account of Adam. It has therefore become a custom among the sons of men to this day. And Adam died because he ate of the tree of knowledge, he and his children after him, as the Lord God had spoken. And it was in the year of Adam's death, which was the 243rd year of the reign of Enoch. In that time Enoch resolved to separate himself from the sons of men, and to secrete himself as at first, in order to serve the Lord. And Enoch did so, but did not entirely secrete himself from them, but kept away from the sons of men 3 days, and then went to them for 1 day. And during the 3 days that he was in his chamber, he prayed to and praised the Lord his God, and the day on which he went and appeared to his subjects, he taught them the ways of the Lord, and all they asked him about the Lord he told them. And he did in this manner for many years, and he afterward concealed himself for 6 days, and appeared to his people 1 day in 7, and after that once in a month, and then once in a year, until all the kings, princes, and sons of men sought for him, and desired again to see the face of Enoch, and to hear his word. But they could not, as all the sons of men were greatly afraid of Enoch, and they feared to approach him on account of the godlike awe that was seated upon his countenance. Therefore no man could look at him, fearing he might be punished and die. And all the kings and princes resolved to assemble the sons of men, and to come to Enoch, thinking that they might all speak to him at the time when he should come forth amongst them. And they did so. And the day came when Enoch went forth, and they all assembled and came to him. And Enoch spoke to them the words of the Lord, and he taught them wisdom and knowledge. And they bowed down before him, and they said, "May the king live! May the king live!" And in some time after, when the kings and princes and the sons of men were speaking to Enoch, and Enoch was teaching them the ways of God, behold, an angel of the Lord then called unto Enoch from heaven, and wished to bring him up to heaven, to make him reign there over the sons of God, as he had reigned over the sons of men upon the earth. When at that time Enoch heard this, he went and assembled all the inhabitants of the earth, and taught them wisdom and knowledge, and gave them divine instructions. And he said to them, "I have been required to ascend into heaven. I therefore do not know the day of my going. And now therefore I will teach you wisdom and knowledge, and will give you instruction before I leave you, how to act upon the earth, whereby you may live." And he did so. And he taught them wisdom and knowledge, and gave them instruction, and he reproved them. And he placed before them statutes and judgments to do upon earth. And he made peace amongst them, and he taught them everlasting life, and dwelt with them some time, teaching them all these things. And at that time the sons of men were with Enoch, and Enoch was speaking to them, and they lifted up their eyes, and the likeness of a great horse descending from heaven, and the horse paced in the air. And they told Enoch what they had seen, and Enoch said to them, "On my account does this horse descend upon earth. The time has come when I must go from you, and I shall no more be seeing you." And the horse descended at that time, and stood before Enoch, and all the sons of men that were with Enoch saw him. And Enoch then again ordered a voice to be proclaimed, saying, "Where is the man who delighteth to know the ways of the Lord his God? Let him come this day to Enoch before he is taken from us." And all the sons of men assembled and came to Enoch that day. And all the kings of the earth with their princes and counselors remained with him that day. And Enoch then taught the sons of men wisdom and knowledge, and gave them divine instruction. And he bade them serve the Lord and walk in his ways all the days of their lives, and he continued to make peace amongst them. And it was after this that he rose up and rode upon the horse, and he went forth, and all the sons of men went after him, about 800,000 men, and they went with him 1 day's journey. And the second day he said to them, "Return home to your tents. Why will you go? Perhaps you may die." And some of them went from him, and those that remained went with him 6 days' journey. And Enoch said to them every day, "Return to your tents, lest you may die." But they were not willing to return, and they went with him. And on the 6th day some of the men remained and clung to him. And they said to him, "We will go with thee to the place where thou goest. As the Lord liveth, death only shall separate us." And they urged so much to go with him that he ceased speaking to them. and they went after him and would not return. And when the kings returned, they caused a census to be taken, in order to know the number of remaining men that went with Enoch. And it was upon the seventh day that Enoch ascended into heaven in a whirlwind, with horses and chariots of fire. And on the eighth day all the kings that had been with Enoch sent to bring back the number of men that were with Enoch in that place from which he ascended into heaven. And all those kings went to the place, and they found the earth there filled with snow, and upon the snow were large stones of snow. And one said to the other, Come, let us break through this snow and see, perhaps the men that remained with Enoch are dead, and are now under these stones of snow. And they searched, but could not find him, for he had ascended into heaven. End of chapter 3.
There are different reasons why we may need to
Quiero ver quién tiene la mejor puntería en los partidos de la Copa América por Univision.
La pentacampeón del mundo buscará imponerse ante los poderosos cafeteros. Martes 2 de julio a las 8, 7:05 Pacífico por Univision.
Este verano los goles se marcan en Univision.
A new era of style and luxury has arrived. Skechers Cord Classics. Clean, chic styling, dripping in sophisticated comfort. Made with premium leather, featuring smart, curated details. Plus, Skechers air-cooled memory foam for an everyday sneaker that's classic, modern, stylish, and comfortable. The understated, but stand out. Skechers Cord Classics.
Chapter 4 of the Book of Jasher. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Recording by C.J. Plogue. Chapter 4. And all the days that Enoch lived upon the earth were 365 years. And when Enoch had ascended into heaven, all the kings of the earth rose and took Methuselah his son, and anointed him, and they caused him to reign over them in the place of his father. And Methuselah acted uprightly in the sight of God, as his father Enoch had taught him. And he likewise, during the whole of his life, taught the sons of men wisdom, knowledge, and the fear of God. And he did not turn from the good way, either to the right or to the left. But in the latter days of Methuselah, the sons of men turned from the Lord. They corrupted the earth, they robbed and plundered each other, and they rebelled against God, and they transgressed, and they corrupted their ways, and would not hearken to the voice of Methuselah, but rebelled against him. And the Lord was exceedingly wroth against them, and the Lord continued to destroy the seed in those days, so that there was neither sowing nor reaping in the earth. For when they sowed the ground in order that they might obtain food for their support, behold, thorns and thistles were produced which they did not sow. And still the sons of men did not turn from their evil ways, and their hands were still extended to do evil in the sight of God. And they provoked the Lord with their evil ways, and the Lord was very wroth, and repented that he had made man. And he thought to destroy and annihilate them, and he did so. In those days when Lamech the son of Methuselah was 160 years old, Seth the son of Adam died. And all the days that Seth lived were 912 years, and he died. And Lamech was 180 years old when he took Ashmua, the daughter of Elisha, the son of Enoch his uncle, and she conceived. And at that time the sons of men sowed the ground, and a little food was produced. Yet the sons of men did not turn from their evil ways, and they trespassed and rebelled against God. And the wife of Lamech conceived and bare him a son at that time, at the revolution of the year. And Methuselah called his name Noah, saying the earth was in his days at rest and free from corruption. And Lamech his father called his name Menachem, saying, This one shall comfort us in our works and miserable toil in the earth which God has cursed. And the child grew up, and was weaned, and he went in the ways of his father Methuselah, perfect and upright with God. And all the sons of men departed from the ways of the Lord in those days, as they multiplied upon the face of the earth with sons and daughters. And they taught one another their evil practices, and they continued sinning against the Lord. And every man made unto himself a god, and they robbed and plundered every man his neighbor as well as his relative, and they corrupted the earth, and the earth was filled with violence. And their judges and rulers went to the daughters of men, and took their wives by force from their husbands according to their choice. And the sons of men in those days took from the cattle of the earth, the beasts of the field, and the fowls of the air, and taught the mixture of animals of one species with the other, in order therewith to provoke the Lord. And God saw the whole earth, and it was corrupt, for all flesh had corrupted its ways upon earth, all men and all animals. And the Lord said, I will blot out man that I created from the face of the earth, yea, from man to the birds of the air, together with cattle and beasts that are in the field, for I repent that I made them. And all men who walked in the ways of the Lord died in those days, before the Lord brought the evil upon man which he had declared, for this was from the Lord, that they should not see the evil which the Lord spoke of concerning the sons of men. And Noah found grace in the sight of the Lord, and the Lord chose him and his children to raise up seed from them upon the face of the whole earth. End of chapter 4. Chapter 5 of the Book of Jasher. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Recording by C.J. Plogue. Chapter 5. And it was in the 84th year of the life of Noah that Enoch the son of Seth died. He was 905 years old at his death. And in the 179th year of the life of Noah, Canaan the son of Enosh died. And all the days of Canaan were 910 years, and he died. And in the 234th year of the life of Noah, Malalel the son of Canaan died. And the days of Malalel were 895 years, and he died. And Jared the son of Malalel died in those days, in the 336th year of the life of Noah. And all the days of Jared were 962 years, and he died. And all who followed the Lord died in those days, before they saw the evil which God declared to do upon the earth. And after the lapse of many years, in the 480th year of the life of Noah, when all those men who followed the Lord had died away from amongst the sons of men, and only Methuselah was then left, God said unto Noah and Methuselah, saying, Speak ye, and proclaim to the sons of men, saying, Thus saith the Lord, Return from your evil ways and forsake your works, and the Lord will repent of the evil that he declared to do to you, so that it shall not come to pass. For thus saith the Lord, Behold, I give you a period of 120 years. If you will turn to me and forsake your evil ways, then will I also turn away from the evil which I told you, and it shall not exist, saith the Lord. And Noah and Methuselah spoke all the words of the Lord to the sons of men, day after day, constantly speaking to them. But the sons of men would not hearken to them, nor incline their ears to their words, and they were stiff-necked. And the Lord granted them a period of 120 years, saying, If they will return, then will God repent of the evil, so as not to destroy the earth. And Noah, the son of Lamech, refrained from taking a wife in those days to beget children, for he said, Surely now God will destroy the earth. Wherefore then shall I beget children? And Noah was a just man. He was perfect in his generation, and the Lord chose him to raise up seed from his seed upon the face of the earth. And the Lord said unto Noah, Take unto thee a wife, and beget children, for I have seen thee righteous before me in this generation. And thou shalt raise up seed, and thy children with thee in the midst of the earth. And Noah went and took a wife, and he chose Naamah, the daughter of Enoch, and she was 580 years old. And Noah was 490 years old when he took Naamah for a wife. And Naamah conceived and bare a son, and he called his name Japheth, saying, God has enlarged me in the earth. And she conceived again and bare a son, and he called his name Shem, saying, God has made me a remnant, to raise up seed in the midst of the earth. And Noah was 502 years old when Naamah bare Shem, and the boys grew up and went in the ways of the Lord, in all that Methuselah and Noah their father taught them. And Lamech the father of Noah died in those days. Yet verily he did not go with all his heart in the ways of his father, and he died in the 195th year of the life of Noah. And all the days of Lamech were 770 years, and he died. And all the sons of men who knew the Lord died in that year before the Lord brought evil upon them. For the Lord willed them to die, so as not to behold the evil that God would bring upon their brothers and relatives, as he had so declared to do. In that time the Lord said to Noah and Methuselah, stand forth and proclaim to the sons of men all the words that I spoke to you in those days. Peradventure they may turn from their evil ways, and I will then repent of the evil, and will not bring it. And Noah and Methuselah stood forth and said in the ears of the sons of men all that God had spoken concerning them. But the sons of men would not hearken, neither would they incline their ears to all their declaration. And it was after this that the Lord said to Noah, The end of all flesh is come before me on account of their evil deed, and behold, I will destroy the earth. And do thou take unto thee gopher wood, and go to a certain place, and make a large ark, and place it in that spot. And thus shalt thou make it: 300 cubits at its length, 50 cubits broad, and 30 cubits high. And thou shalt make unto thee a door, open at its side, and to a cubit thou shalt finish above, and cover it within and without with pitch. And behold, I will bring the flood of waters upon the earth, and all flesh be destroyed from under the heavens. All that is upon earth shall perish. And thou and thy household shall go and gather 2 couple of all living things, male and female, and shall bring them to the ark to raise up seed from them upon earth. And gather unto thee all food that is eaten by all the animals, that there may be food for thee and for them. And thou shalt choose for thy sons 3 maidens from the daughters of men, and they shall be wives to thy sons. And Noah rose up, and he made the ark in the place where God had commanded him, and Noah did as God had ordered him. In his 595th year, Noah commenced to make the ark, and he made the ark in 5 years, as the Lord had commanded. Then Noah took the 3 daughters of Eliakim, the son of Methuselah, for wives for his sons, as the Lord had commanded Noah. And it was at that time Methuselah, the son of Enoch, died. 960 years old was he at his death. End of chapter 5.
Put our 12-piece family meal on the table, and this commercial may last longer than dinner. Please, famous for chicken.
It's so easy to get your windshield replaced using SafeLight. Tell the people why you haven't done it. It started off as a chip and it just keeps going. So what do we do now? I've scheduled an appointment at SafeLight.com.
SafeLight Repair. SafeLight Replace.
Yes!
SafeLight Repair, SafeLight Replace.
Cincinnati Overstock Warehouse is open this weekend only for our 4th of July sale. Get the lowest prices on the biggest brands. Grab this Ashley sectional for only $9.98. Queen size hybrid mattress just $197. Go to CincinnatiOverstockWarehouse.com for more details.
Chapter 6 of the Book of Jasher. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Recording by C.J. Plogue. Chapter 6. At that time, after the death of Methuselah, the Lord said to Noah, Go thou with thy household into the ark. Behold, I will gather to thee all the animals of the earth, the beasts of the field, and the fowls of the air, and they shall all come and surround the ark. And thou shalt go and seat thyself by the doors of the ark, and all the beasts, the animals, and the fowls shall assemble and place themselves before thee. And such of them as shall come and crouch before thee shalt thou take and deliver into the hands of thy sons, who shall bring them to the ark, and all that will stand before thee thou shalt leave. And the Lord brought this about on the next day, and animals, beasts, and fowls came in great multitudes and surrounded the ark. And Noah went and seated himself by the door of the ark, and of all flesh that crouched before him he brought into the ark, and all that stood before him he left upon the earth. And a lioness came with her 2 whelps, male and female, and the 3 crouched before Noah. And the 2 whelps rose up against the lioness and smote her, and made her flee from her place. And she went away, and they returned to their places and crouched upon the earth before Noah. And the lioness ran away, and stood in the place of the lions. And Noah saw this and wondered greatly, and he rose and took the 2 whelps and brought them into the ark. And Noah brought into the ark from all living creatures that were upon the earth, so that there was none left but which Noah brought into the ark. 2 and 2 came to Noah into the ark, but from the clean animals and clean fowls he brought 7 couples, as God had commanded him. And all the animals and beasts and fowls were still there, and they surrounded the ark at every place. And the rain had not descended till 7 days after. And on that day the Lord caused the whole earth to shake, and the sun darkened, and the foundations of the world raged, and the whole earth was moved violently. And the lightning flashed, and the thunder roared, and all the fountains in the earth were broken up, such as was not known to the inhabitants before. And God did this mighty act in order to terrify the sons of men, that there might be no more evil upon earth. And still the sons of men would not return from their evil ways, and they increased the anger of the Lord at that time, and did not even direct their hearts to all this. And at the end of 7 days, in the 600th year of the life of Noah, the waters of the flood were upon the earth, and all the fountains of the deep were broken up, and the windows of heaven were opened, and the rain was upon the earth 40 days and 40 nights. And Noah and his household and all the living creatures that were with him came into the ark on account of the waters of the flood, and the Lord shut him in. And all the sons of men that were left upon the earth became exhausted through evil on account of the rain, for the waters were coming more violently upon the earth, and the animals and beasts were still surrounding the ark. And the sons of men assembled together, about 700,000 men and women, and they came unto Noah to the ark. And they called to Noah, saying, Open for us, that we may come to thee in the ark, and wherefore shall we die? And Noah with a loud voice answered them from the ark, saying, Have you not all rebelled against the Lord, and said that he does not exist? And therefore the Lord brought upon you this evil, to destroy and cut you off from the face of the earth. Is not this the thing that I spoke to you of 120 years back? And you would not hearken to the voice of the Lord, and now do you desire to live upon earth? And they said to Noah, We are ready to return to the Lord, only open for us that we may live and not die. And Noah answered them, saying, Behold, now that you see the trouble of your souls, you wish to return to the Lord. Why did you not return during these 120 years which the Lord granted you as the determined period? But now you come and tell me this on account of the troubles of your souls. Now, also, the Lord will not listen to you, neither will he give ear to you on this day, so that you will not now succeed in your wishes. And the sons of men approached in order to break into the ark, to come in on account of the rain, for they could not bear the rain upon them. And the Lord sent all the beasts and animals that stood around the ark, and the beasts overpowered them and drove them from that place, and every man went his way, and again they scattered themselves upon the face of the earth. And the rain was still descending upon the earth, and it descended 40 days and 40 nights, and the waters prevailed greatly upon the earth, and all flesh that was upon the earth or in the waters died, whether men, animals, beasts, creeping things, or birds of the air, and there only remained Noah and those that were with him in the ark. And the waters prevailed, and they greatly increased upon the earth, and they lifted up the ark, and it was raised from the earth. And the ark floated upon the face of the waters, and it was tossed upon the waters, so that all the living creatures within were turned about like pottage in the cauldron. And great anxiety seized all the living creatures that were in the ark, and the ark was like to be broken. And all the living creatures that were in the ark were terrified, and the lions roared, and the oxen lowed, and the wolves howled, and every living creature in the ark spoke and lamented in its own language, so that their voices reached to a great distance. And Noah and his sons cried and wept in their troubles. They were greatly afraid that they had reached the gates of death. And Noah prayed unto the Lord, and he cried unto him on account of this. And he said, O Lord, help us, for we have no strength to bear this evil that has encompassed us. For the waves of the waters have surrounded us, mischievous torrents have terrified us, the snares of death have come before us. Answer us, O Lord, answer us. Light up thy countenance toward us, and be gracious to us. Redeem us and deliver us. And the Lord hearkened to the voice of Noah, and the Lord remembered him. And a wind passed over the earth, and the waters were still, and the ark rested. And the fountains of the deep and the windows of heaven were stopped, and the rain from heaven was restrained. And the waters decreased in those days, and the ark rested upon the mountains of Ararat. And Noah then opened the windows of the ark, and Noah still called out to the Lord at that time, and he said, O Lord, who didst form the earth and the heavens and all that are therein, bring forth our souls from this confinement and from the prison wherein thou hast placed us, for I am much wearied with sighing. And the Lord hearkened to the voice of Noah, and said to him, When thou shalt have completed a full year, thou shalt then go forth. And at the revolution of the year, when a full year was completed to Noah's dwelling in the ark, the waters were dried from off the earth, and Noah put off the covering of the ark. At that time, on the 27th day of the 2nd month, the earth was dry. But Noah and his sons and those that were with him did not go out from the ark until the Lord told them. And the day came that the Lord told them to go out, and they all went out from the ark. And they went and returned every one to his way and to his place. And Noah and his sons dwelt in the land that God had told them. And they served the Lord all their days, and the Lord blessed Noah and his sons on their going out from the ark. And he said to them, Be fruitful, and fill all the earth. Become strong, and increase abundantly in the earth, and multiply therein. End of chapter 6. Chapter 7 of the Book of Jasher. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Recording by C.J. Plogue. Chapter 7. And these are the names of the sons of Noah, Japheth, Ham, and Shem. And children were born to them after the flood, for they had taken wives before the flood. These are the sons of Japheth: Gomer, Magog, Madai, Javan, Tubal, Meshech, and Tiras, 7 sons. And the sons of Gomer were Ashkenaz, Rephath, and Togarmah. And the sons of Magog were Elichaneph and Lubal. And the children of Madai were Echon, Zelo, Chazoni, and Lot. And the sons of Javan were Elisha, Tarshish, Chittim, and Jidonim. And the sons of Tubal were Arifi, Kesed, and Hari. And the sons of Meshech were Didan, Zeran, and Shebashni. And the sons of Tiras were Benib, Gira, Lepirian, and Gilak. These are the sons of Japheth according to their families, and their numbers in those days were about 460 men. And these are the sons of Ham: Cush, Mitzrayim, Phut, and Canaan, 4 sons. And the sons of Cush were Seba, Havilah, Sabta, Ramah, and Saticha. And the sons of Ramah were Sheba and Dedan. And the sons of Mitzrayim were Lud, Anam, and Pathros, Chaslath, and Shaftor. And the sons of Phut were Gebal, Hadan, Bena, and Adan. And the sons of Canaan were Zidon, Heth, Amore, Girgashi, Hivi, Arki, Sinai, Orodai, Zimodai, and Chemothai. These are the sons of Ham, according to their families, and their numbers in those days were about 730 men. And these are the sons of Shem: Elam, Ashur, Arpachshad, Lud, and Aram, 5 sons. And the sons of Elam were Shushan, Makhul, and Harman. And the sons of Asher were Myras and Mokil. And the sons of Arpachshad were Shilach, Anar, and Ashkol. And the sons of Lud were Pethor and Bezayun. And the sons of Aram were Uz, Chul, Gather, and Mash. These are the sons of Ham according to their families, and their numbers in those days were about 300 men. These are the generations of Shem. Shem begat Arpachshad, and Arpachshad begat Shelach, and Shelach begat Eber. And to Eber were born 2 children. The name of one was Peleg, for in his days the sons of men were divided, and in the latter days the earth was divided. And the name of the second was Yoktan, meaning that in his day the lives of the sons of men were diminished and lessened. These are the sons of Yoktan: Amadad, Shelaph, Chazarmaveth, Yerach, Hadurum, Ozel, Dikla, Obal, Abimael, Sheba, Ophir, Havilah, and Jobab. All these are the sons of Yoktan. And Peleg his brother begat Yen, and Yen begat Serug, and Serug begat Nahor, and Nahor begat Terah. And Terah was 38 years old, and he begat Haran and Nahor. And Cush, the son of Ham, the son of Noah, took a wife in those days in his old age, and she bare a son, and they called his name Nimrod, saying, At that time the sons of men again began to rebel and transgress against God. And the child grew up, and his father loved him exceedingly, for he was the son of his old age. And the garments of skin which God made for Adam and his wife, when they went out of the garden, were given to Cush.
This is it! This is when we find out!
Quick question. Student body math proficiency.
What? What do we say? It's good, fair.
Get out of here, Nick.
Understood.
Excuse me, we can use real in-depth school info.
Bingo!
Homes.com.
Who's turning up the flavor? Saucy Spoon baked beans. The backyard barbecue MVP.
The crowd wowing side dish magician.
Saucy Spoon baked beans. Saucy Spoon baked beans. Game day baked bean champion. And me and you and you and you and Saucy Spoon. Me and you and Saucy Spoon.
Bold flavors, good times. Saucy Spoon baked beans.
For after the death of Adam and his wife, the garments were given to Enoch, the son of Jared. And when Enoch was taken up to God, he gave them to Methuselah, his son. And at the death of Methuselah, Noah took them and brought them to the ark. And they were with him until he went out of the ark. And in their going out, Ham stole those garments from Noah, his father, and he took them and hid them from his brothers. And when Ham begat his firstborn Cush, he gave him the garments in secret. And they were with Cush many days. And Cush also concealed them from his sons and brothers. And when Cush had begotten Nimrod, he gave him those garments through his love for him. And Nimrod grew up, and when he was 20 years old, he put on those garments. And Nimrod became strong when he put on the garments, and God gave him might and strength. And he was a mighty hunter in the earth. Yea, he was a mighty hunter in the field. And he hunted the animals, and he built altars. And he offered upon them the animals before the Lord. And Nimrod strengthened himself, and he rose up from amongst his brethren, and he fought the battles of his brethren against all their enemies round about. And the Lord delivered all the enemies of his brethren in his hands. And God prospered him from time to time in his battles, and he reigned upon the earth. Therefore it became current in those days, when a man ushered forth those that he had trained up for battle, he would say to them, like God did to Nimrod, who was a mighty hunter in the earth, and who succeeded in the battles that prevailed against his brethren, that he delivered them from the hands of their enemies, so may God strengthen us and deliver us this day. And when Nimrod was 40 years old, at that time there was a war between his brethren and the children of Japheth, so that they were in the power of their enemies. And Nimrod went forth at that time, and he assembled all the sons of Cush and their families, about 460 men, and he hired also from some of his friends and acquaintances about 80 men, and he gave them their hire, and he went with them to the battle. And when he was on the road, Nimrod strengthened the hearts of the people that went with him. And he said to them, do not fear, neither be alarmed, for all our enemies will be delivered into our hands, and you may do with them as you please. And all the men that went were about 500, and they fought against their enemies, and they destroyed them, and subdued them. And Nimrod placed standing officers over them in their respective places. And he took some of their children as security, and they were all servants to Nimrod and to his brethren. And Nimrod and all the people that were with him turned homeward. And when Nimrod had joyfully returned from battle, after having conquered his enemies, all his brethren, together with those who knew him before, assembled to make him king over them. And they placed the regal crown upon his head. And he set over his subjects and people, princes, judges, and rulers, as is the custom amongst kings. And he placed Terah, the son of Nahor, the prince of his host, and he dignified him and elevated him above all his princes. And whilst he was reigning according to his heart's desire, after having conquered all his enemies around, he advised with his counselors to build a city for his palace, and they did so. And they found a large valley opposite to the east, and they built him a large and extensive city. And Nimrod called the name of the city that he built Shinar, for the Lord had vehemently shaken his enemies and destroyed them. And Nimrod dwelt in Shinar, and he reigned securely, and he fought with his enemies, and he subdued them, and he prospered in all his battles, and his kingdom became very great. And all nations and tongues heard of his fame, and they gathered themselves to him, and they bowed down to the earth, and they brought him offerings, and he became their Lord and King. And they all dwelt with him in the city of Shinar, and Nimrod reigned in the earth over all the sons of Noah, and they were all under his power and counsel. And all the earth was of one tongue, and words of union, but Nimrod did not go in the ways of the Lord, and he was more wicked than all the men that were before him, from the days of the flood until those days. And he made gods of wood and stone, and he bowed down to them, and he rebelled against the Lord, and taught all his subjects and the people of the earth his wicked ways. And Mardon his son was more wicked than his father. And everyone that heard of the acts of Mardon the son of Nimrod would say concerning him, From the wicked go forth wickedness. Therefore it became a proverb in the whole earth, saying, From the wicked goeth forth wickedness, and it was current in the words of men from that time to this. And Terah, the son of Nahor, prince of Nimrod's host, was in those days very great in the sight of the king and his subjects. And the king and princes loved him, and they elevated him very high. And Terah took a wife, and her name was Amphello, the daughter of Cornebo. And the wife of Terah conceived and bare him a son in those days. Terah was 70 years old when he begat him, and Terah called the name of his son that was born to him Abram, because the king had raised him in those days, and dignified him above all his princes that were with him. End of chapter 7. Chapter 8 of the Book of Jasher. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by C.J. Plogue. And it was in the night that Abram was born, that all the servants of Terah and all the wise men of Nimrod and his conjurers came and ate and drank in the house of Terah, and they rejoiced with him on that night. And when all the wise men and conjurers went out from the house of Terah, they lifted up their eyes toward heaven that night to look at the stars. And they saw, and behold, one very large star came from the east and ran in the heavens. And he swallowed up the 4 stars from the 4 sides of the heavens. And all the wise men of the king and his conjurers were astonished at the sight. And the sages understood this matter, and they knew its import. And they said to each other, This only betokens the child that has been born to Terah this night, who will grow up and be fruitful and multiply and possess all the earth, he and his children forever. And he and his seed will slay great kings and inherit their lands. And the wise men and conjurers went home that night. And in the morning all these wise men and conjurers rose up early, and assembled in an appointed house. And they spoke and said to each other, Behold, the sight that we saw last night is hidden from the king. It has not been made known to him. And should this thing get known to the king in the latter days, he will say to us, Why have you concealed this matter from me? And then we shall all suffer death. Therefore let us go and tell the king the sight which we saw, and the interpretation thereof, and we shall then remain clear. And they did so, and they all went to the king and bowed down to him to the ground, and they said, May the king live, may the king live. We heard that a son was born to Terah, the son of Nahor, the prince of thy host, and we yesternight came to his house, and we ate and drank and rejoiced with him that night. And when thy servants went out from the house of Terah to go to our respective homes to abide there for the night, we lifted up our eyes to heaven and saw a great star coming from the east. And the same star ran with great speed, and swallowed up 4 great stars from the 4 sides of the heavens. And thy servants were astonished at the sight which we saw, and were greatly terrified. And we made our judgment upon the sight, and knew by our wisdom the proper interpretation thereof, that this thing applies to the child that is born to Terah, who will grow up and multiply greatly and become powerful, and kill all the kings of the earth, and inherit all their lands, he and his seed forever. And now our Lord and King, behold, we have truly acquainted thee with what we have seen according to this child. If it seemeth good to the king to give his father value for this child, we will slay him before he shall grow up and increase in the land, and his evil increase against us, that we and our children perish through his evil. And the king heard their words, and they seemed good in his sight, and he sent and called for Terah, and Terah came before the king. And the king said to Terah, I have been told that a son was yesternight born to thee, and after this manner was observed in the heavens at his birth. And now therefore give me the child, that we may slay him before his evil springs up against us, and I will give thee for his value thy house full of silver and gold. And Terah answered the king and said to him, My lord and king, I have heard thy words, and thy servant shall do all that his king desireth. But my lord and king, I will tell thee what happened to me yesternight. that I may see what advice the king will give his servant, and then I will answer the king upon what he has just spoken. And the king said, Speak. And Terah said to the king, Aon, son of Mored, came to me yesternight, saying, Give unto me the great and beautiful horse that the king gave thee, and I will give thee silver and gold, and straw and provender for its value. And I said to him, Wait till I see the king concerning thy words, and behold, whatever the king saith, that will I do. And now, my lord and king, behold, I have made this thing known to thee, and the advice which my king will give unto his servant, that will I follow. And the king heard the words of Terah, and his anger was kindled, and he considered him in the light of a fool. And the king answered Terah, and he said to him, Art thou so silly, ignorant, or deficient in understanding to do this thing, to give thy beautiful horse for silver and gold, or even for straw and provender? Art thou so short of silver and gold that thou shouldest do this thing, because thou canst not obtain straw and provender to feed thy horse? And what is silver and gold to thee, or straw and provender, that thou shouldest give away that fine horse which I gave thee, like which there is none to be had on the whole earth? And the king left off speaking, and Terah answered the king, saying, Like unto this has the king spoken to his servant. I beseech thee, my lord and king, what is this which thou didst say unto me, saying, Give thy son, that we may slay him, and I will give thee silver and gold for his value? What shall I do with silver and gold after the death of my son? Who shall inherit me? Surely then at my death the silver and gold will return to my king who gave it. And when the king heard the words of Terah and the parable which he brought concerning the king, it grieved him greatly, and he was vexed at this thing, and his anger burned within him. And Terah saw that the anger of the king was kindled against him, and he answered the king, saying, All that I have is in the king's power. Whatever the king desireth to do to his servant, let him do. Yea, even my son, he is in the king's power, without value in exchange, he and his 2 brothers that are older than he. And the king said to Terah, No, but I will purchase thy younger son for a price. And Terah answered the king, saying, I beseech thee, my lord and king, to let thy servant speak a word before thee, and let the king hear the word of his servant. And Terah said, Let my king give me 3 days' time till I consider this matter within myself, and consult with my family concerning the words of my king. And he pressed the king greatly to agree to this. And the king hearkened to Terah, and he did so, and he gave him 3 days' time. And Terah went out from the king's presence, and he came home to his family, and spoke to them all the words of the king, and the people were greatly afraid. And it was in the 3rd day that the king sent to Terah, saying, Send me thy son for a price, as I spoke to thee. And shouldst thou not do this, I will send and slay all thou hast in thy house, so that thou shalt not even have a dog remaining. And Terah hastened, as the thing was urgent, from the king, and he took a child from one of his servants, which his handmaid had borne to him that day, and Terah brought the child to the king and received value for him. And the Lord was with Terah in this matter, that Nimrod might not cause Abram's death. And the king took the child from Terah, and with all his might dashed his head to the ground, for he thought it had been Abram. And this was concealed from him from that day, and it was forgotten by the king, as it was the will of the providence not to suffer Abram's death. And Terah took Abram his son secretly, together with his mother and nurse, and he concealed them in a cave, and he brought them their provisions monthly. And the Lord was with Abram in the cave, and he grew up. And Abram was in the cave 10 years, and the king and his princes, soothsayers and sages, thought that the king had killed Abram. End of chapter 8. Chapter 9 of the Book of Jasher. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by C.J. Ploeg. Chapter 9. And Haran, the son of Terah, Abram's oldest brother, took a wife in those days. Haran was 39 years old when he took her, and the wife of Haran conceived and bare a son, and he called his name Lot. And she conceived again and bare a daughter, and she called her name Milcah. And she again conceived and bare a daughter, and she called her name Sarai. Haran was 42 years old when he begot Sarai, which was in the 10th year of the life of Abram. And in those days Abram and his mother and nurse went out from the cave, as the king and his subjects had forgotten the affair of Abram. And when Abram came out from the cave, he went to Noah and his son Shem, and he remained with them to learn the instruction of the Lord and his ways. And no man knew where Abram was, and Abram served Noah and Shem his son for a long time. And Abram was in Noah's house 39 years, and Abram knew the Lord from 3 years old, and he went in the ways of the Lord until the day of his death, as Noah and his son Shem had taught him. And all the sons of the earth in those days greatly transgressed against the Lord, and they rebelled against him, and they served other gods. And they forgot the Lord who had created them in the earth, and the inhabitants of the earth made unto themselves, at that time, every man his god, gods of wood and stone, which could neither speak, hear, nor deliver, and the sons of men served them, and they became their gods. And the king and all his servants, and Terah with all his household, were then the first of those that served gods of wood and stone. And Terah had 12 gods of large size made of wood and stone, after the 12 months of the year, and he served each one monthly, and every month Terah would bring his meat offering and drink offering to his gods. Thus did Terah all the days. And all that generation were wicked in the sight of the Lord, and they thus made every man his god, but they forsook the Lord who had created them. And there was not a man found in those days in the whole earth who knew the Lord, for they served each man his own god, except Noah and his household, and all those who were under his counsel knew the Lord in those days. And Abram the son of Terah was waxing great in those days in the house of Noah, and no man knew it, and the Lord was with him. And the Lord gave Abram an understanding heart, and he knew all the works of that generation were vain, and that all their gods were vain, and were of no avail. And Abram saw the sun shining upon the earth, and Abram said unto himself, Surely now this sun that shines upon the earth is God, and him will I serve. And Abram served the sun in that day, and he prayed to him. And when evening came, the sun set as usual. And Abram said within himself, Surely this cannot be God. And Abram still continued to speak within himself, Who is he who made the heavens and the earth? Who created upon the earth? Where is he? And night darkened over him, and he lifted up his eyes towards the west, north, south, and east. And he saw that the sun had vanished from the earth, and the day became dark. And Abram saw the stars and moon before him, and he said, Surely this is the God who created the whole earth as well as man. And behold, these his servants are gods around him. And Abram served the moon, and prayed to it all that night. And in the morning when it was light, and the sun shone upon the earth as usual, Abram saw all the things that the Lord God had made upon the earth. And Abram said unto himself, Surely these are not gods that made the earth and all mankind, but these are the servants of God. And Abram remained in the house of Noah, and there knew the Lord and his ways, and he served the Lord all the days of his life. And all that generation forgot the Lord, and served other gods of wood and stone, and rebelled all their days. And King Nimrod reigned securely, that all the earth was under his control, and all the earth was of one tongue and words of union. And all the princes of Nimrod and his great men took counsel together, Phut, Mitzrayim, Cush, and Canaan with their families, and they said to each other, Come, let us build ourselves a city, and in it a strong tower, and its top reaching heaven. And we will make ourselves famed, so that we may reign upon the whole earth, in order that the evil of our enemies may cease from us, that we may reign mightily over them, and that we may not become scattered over the earth on account of their wars. And they all went before the king, and they took the king these words, and the king agreed with them in this affair, and he did so. And all the families assembled, consisting of about 600,000 men, and they went to seek an extensive piece of ground to build the city and the tower. And they sought in the whole earth, and they found none like one valley at the east end of Shinar, about 2 days' walk, and they journeyed there, and they dwelt there. And they began to make bricks and burn fires to build the city and the tower that they had imagined to complete. And the building of the tower was unto them a transgression and a sin. and they began to build it. And whilst they were building against the Lord God of heaven, they imagined in their hearts to war against him, and to ascend into heaven. And all these people and all the families divided themselves in 3 parts. The first said, "We will ascend into heaven and fight against him." The second said, "We will ascend to heaven and place our own gods there and serve them." And the third part said, "We will ascend to heaven and smite him with bows and spears." And God knew all their works and all their evil thoughts, and he saw the city and the tower which they were building. And when they were building, they built themselves a great city and a very high and strong tower. And on account of its height, the mortar and bricks did not reach the builders in their ascent to it, until those who went up had completed a full year. And after that they reached to the builders and gave them the mortar and bricks. Thus was it done daily. And behold, these ascended and others descended the whole day. And if a brick should fall from their hands and get broken, they would all weep over it. And if a man fell and died, none of them would look at him. And the Lord knew their thoughts, and it came to pass when they were building, they cast the arrows toward the heavens. And all the arrows fell upon them, filled with blood. And when they saw them, they said to each other, "Surely we have slain all those that are in heaven." For this was from the Lord, in order to cause them to err, and in order to destroy them from off the face of the ground. And they built the tower and the city, and they did this thing daily until many days and years were elapsed. And God said to the 70 angels who stood foremost before him, to those who were near to him, saying, "Come, let us descend and confuse their tongues, that one man shall not understand the language of his neighbor." And they did so unto them. And from that day following they forgot each man his neighbor's tongue, and they could not understand to speak in one tongue. And when the builder took from the hands of his neighbor lime or stone which he did not order, the builder would cast it away and throw it upon his neighbor that he would die. And they did so many days, and they killed many of them in this manner. And the Lord smote the 3 divisions that were there, and he punished them according to their works and designs. Those who said, "We will ascend to heaven and serve our gods," became like apes and elephants. And those who said, "We will smite the heaven with arrows," the Lord killed them, one man through the hand of his neighbor. And the 3rd division of those who said, "We will ascend to heaven and fight against him," the Lord scattered them throughout the earth. And those who were left amongst them, when they knew and understood the evil which was coming upon them, they forsook the building, and they also became scattered upon the face of the whole earth. And they ceased building the city and the tower. Therefore he called that place Babel, for there the Lord confounded the language of the whole earth. Behold, it was at the east of the land of Shinar. And as to the tower which the sons of men built, the earth opened its mouth and swallowed up 1/3 part thereof. And a fire also descended from heaven and burnt another third, and the other third is left to this day. And it is of that part which was aloft, and its circumference is 3 days' walk. And many of the sons of men died in that tower, a people without number. End of chapter 9. Chapter 10 of the Book of Jasher. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by C.J. Ploeg. Chapter 10. And Peleg, the son of Eber, died in those days, in the 48th year of the life of Abram, son of Terah, and all the days of Terah were 239 years. And when the Lord had scattered the sons of men on account of their sin at the tower, behold, they spread forth into many divisions, and all the sons of men were dispersed into the 4 corners of the earth. And all the families became each according to its language, its land, or its city. And the sons of men built many cities according to their families, in all the places where they went, and throughout the earth where the Lord had scattered them. And some of them built cities in places from which they were afterward extirpated, and they called these cities after their own names, or the names of their children, or after their particular occurrences. And the sons of Japheth, the son of Noah, went and built themselves cities in the place where they were scattered, and they called all their cities after their names. And the sons of Japheth were divided upon the face of the earth into many divisions and languages. And these are the sons of Japheth according to their families: Gomer, Magog, Madai, Javan, Tubal, Meshach, and Tiras. And these are the children of Japheth according to their generations. And the generation of Gomer, according to their cities, were the Francum, who dwelt in the land of Franza by the river Franza, by the river Sina. And the children of Rephath are the Bartonim, who dwell in the land of Bartonia, by the river Leda, which empties its waters in the great sea Gihon, that is Oceanus. And the children of Togarma are 10 families, and these are their names: Buzar, Parzunak, Belgar, Elikanom, Ragbib, Tarki, Big, Zebuk, Ongal, and Tilmaz. All these spread and rested in the north and built themselves cities. And they called their cities after their own names. Those are they who abide by the rivers Hithla and Italak unto this day. But the families of Angoli, Belgar, and Puzunak, they dwell by the great river Dupni. And the names of their cities are also according to their own names. And the children of Javan are the Javanim, who dwell in the land of Macedonia. And the children of Madai are the Orilam, that dwell in the land of Cursum. And the children of Tubal are those that dwell in the land of Tuscana, by the river Pasha. And the children of Meshach are the Shubashni, and the children of Tiras are the Rushash, Kushni, and Angolis. All these went and built themselves cities. Those are the cities that are situated by the sea Jabos, by the river Kura, which empties its.
I actually forgot I was recording. I don't know if I said anything because I am in my feelings right now. But yeah, I'm about to watch this.
Voicemail. The person you're trying to reach is not available. At the tone, please record your message. When you have finished recording, you may hang up.
call has been forwarded to.
My granny called my granddad gone. Know they love what I've been missing. Was trying to numb the pain with the trust, but Holy Spirit got me lifted. Say my people say my soul. You know I'm focused, so don't leave me alone. Cause I can't do this by myself. I need your spirit, keep me up and build me strong. On the simple. Oh God, I need you by my side. I wanna see the kingdom on what they find. What's your true intention? You wanna come around my space, or you just want attention? Yeah, I was struggling for so long, and I just want a blessing. Show me your love is unconditional, then you special. Right around, they got no jewelry, but he got a medal. He got the burner while we killing one another. They want us beefing, but you know that we be brothers. Love that you showed me, I've been searching, ain't no other. I wanna serve my people kinda like a butler. I ain't heard from you in a minute. I said he minded my business. I know you feeling that I hurt your feelings, but it wasn't my intention. I locked up doing life system, and want us to raise up our children. We gotta make the choices as citizens. Don't leave me alone. Cause I can't do this by myself. I need your spirit, keep me up and build me strong. On the simple. Oh God, I need you by my side. I wanna see the kingdom on what they find. What's your true intention? You wanna come around my space, or you just want attention? Yeah, I was struggling for so long, and I just want a blessing. Show me your love is unconditional, then you special. Right around, they got no jewelry, but he got a medal. Hey, well, if you was whatever. You know, I told you that I'm the man. I'm doing this thing now. The thing is that, I think they really have the back. But the other day, I got the dance. It's like, when you make the deal with the energy one, that's the bad guy, right? He's going to take care of all your needs, all your worries, and he's going to use you for his purpose. So the things that's going to come out your mouth is going to be for his glory, for how he wants things to be said out of you.
When you play at Chumba Casino, suddenly all the boring moments become fun.
Waiting in line has never been so easy.
Now I love the commute to work. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. Play Chumba Casino anytime, anywhere. Go to ChumbaCasino.com to play. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
What's wrong? I heard you all along. Now that I finally got your words in mind, so teach me, lead me, show me. You said your song embarrass your people. I finally got it. I got all the knowledge within. I'm proud about it. You told me to show them again. I'm speaking about it. And now I won't blow on the wind. I'm using knowledge. I'll admit it. I'll correct my wrongs. But I can't help all of these people that keep falling off. I got these voices in my head telling me I'm wrong, telling me I'm weak, but you told me I'm strong. I want to help my eyes and eyewash, that's up in its truth. I want to teach all of my people, speaking through my book. I'm not Moses, I'm not David, and I know it's true. But I got what he gave me, and that's the words of life. And that's the words of spirit, not the words of strife. Abba told me to follow the light, stop picking these fights. Abba told me to choose wisely when I'm picking brothers, when I'm picking sisters. Cause you can't trust these people. The woman had bloody problems for about 12 years. Messiah walked upon this earth, the woman said she's there. She wouldn't touch him, oh no, the Messiah felt that all. He felt some purity leave his body, so he turned around. He turned to shout all out, who went and touched me now? The woman said, look, here I am, I'm the one touched the garment. She stood up with a smile. At first she had a frown. And the Father said, be near, your sin is going away. Your blood won't drift away. The bridegroom coming, you got your land filled. The kingdom is at hand, you got your holy apparel. You know the Father near, why must you stand still? Your sin still stuck in place, like please stuck in the field. Abba, can you see me? Please just hear me out. I know your people stuck in sin, please just hear us out. I know I can't speak for us all as I write this down. We tired of burning, tired of hurting, tired of having found. Abba, help us now. Abba, show us how. Abba, open gates. Abba, show us the way. I fell in love with your word, fell in love with your word. I'd rather be with you, that's what I prefer. In your secret place, I will put you first. Never third, hear your voice in every verse. At first, I had my vision blurred. The truth, your promises I heard. Now I'll always do my work for you, save me. That yourself and then you raise me. That's why you'll always have my heart. That's why you'll always have my heart. Abba, you will save me. Now people think I'm going crazy, but you will always have my heart. But you will always have my heart.
Creating a shaman, give us a stay, find every day, give us our debts, as we feel
I know who to call on when I'm feeling low, when I'm feeling broke, even when I'm calm. Ooh, yeah, 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 yeah. I know who to call on when I'm feeling low, when I'm feeling broke, even when I'm calm. He'll never let me down. He'll never let me down. Maybe it's been hectic, it's a struggle, just smile. The way your temperature, I ain't been hearing it well. Feel lost, I ain't getting no sleep. But when I'm low, he give me strength when I'm weak. Keep me afloat and don't sink. Months low, my kids gotta eat. I feel the pressure, but I know he gon' come through for me. This what we tested. But never let your guards down. He called us back to him, cause we know who we are now. A strong tower, pick me up when I fall down. Reveal this name to us, so we know who to call now. Your house, time to do away with the evil. Turn this face for a minute, but didn't forsake his people. I know who to call on when I'm feeling low, when I'm feeling broke, even when I'm calm. Ooh, yeah, 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 yeah. I know who to call on when I'm feeling low, when I'm feeling broke, even when I'm calm. He'll never let me down. I know who to call on. I wake up every morning thankful that he gave me breath. I never got it on my lonely, he ordered my steps. House of time, don't shoot a shot, he wanna be stepped. I stay rooted in this word, I wanna be kept under his shadow. Dwelling in that secret place, we used to crawl in lies, now we walk in faith. Hey, I wanna love my people, you can keep the hate. I just want the truth, so I'ma seek his face. He gave hope to his Yahudi by any means, and plant us by rivers, call that multiple streams. 400 years of pressure, we tried through the fire. His kingdom soon to come, all praise to a higher.
When I'm feeling low, when I'm feeling broke, even when I'm home. Ooh, yeah. I know who to call on. When I'm feeling low, when I'm feeling broke, even when I'm home. It'll never let me down.
I'm in a battle with myself. Ain't gonna lie, sometimes I'm feeling scared. I be worried for my health. I don't wanna see no hell at all. Doctor said I'm trading off. I pray to God to make you proud. My uncle died, it was from COVID, now my feelings wanna change. My cousin daddy died today, I seen him cry, feel his pain. Really, I don't want the fame, you just want me for a name. Life is sin, is truly lame, seek the kingdom, not the grave. On the phone, and there's so much more to tell. Just hold me down, want your love, cause you so special. And how I'm feeling, it ain't no one I can tell it to. Who I can trust can only say a few. Mama, I'm so sorry, it seems like I don't care. Grandma, I miss the love you showed me, it ain't nowhere else. Mama, I love your love, I've been trying to find myself. You always had my back and showed me that you really care. I'm sorry I ain't called, I've been steady trying to heal myself. While I'm feeling at my lowest, God help. Seems like everything I'm doing, it ain't working out for me. Trusting God knows for a reason. Talk to James in the same season. And that's my brother that I love, I hope we all make it. Baby girl hitting my phone, I know she's still away. Ready to leave, but still I gotta choose. Impress the most, yeah, I gotta prove. You want my love, I gotta give you time. Forgive me, I was wasting time. But I'm getting up, and I'm feeling strong. Can you forgive my ways? Forgive me all my wrong. I can't let the devil win, gotta stay strong, stay strong. Still my prayers of faith, it won't take long, take long. Now I'm committed to his word, take my sins to one to burn. Sometimes I'm hard-headed and stubborn, so I gotta always learn. I don't wanna do no wrong, I don't wanna see you fall. Woke up today, another chance, so I gotta give him more. I'm sorry I ain't called, I've been steady trying to heal myself. While I'm feeling at my lowest, God help. Seems like everything I'm doing, it ain't working out for me. Trusting God knows for a reason. Talk to James in the same season. And that's my brother that I love, I hope we all make it. Baby girl hitting my phone, I know she's still awake. Ready to leave, but still I gotta choose. Impress the most, yeah, I gotta prove. You want my love, I gotta give you time. Forgive me, I was wasting time.
Psalm 68, verse 4. Sing praises to God. Sing praises to his name and store him that rideth upon the heavens. This is who we praise. Don't ever get it twisted. His throne is forever. Name that glory in the most high.
See, I was gonna let live, cause I don't really care who the best is. The most I told me speak, so here I am. He told me give you this message, so I had to spin the block like Tetris. Now here's what you left with, a messenger bringing correction. They blaspheme the one who exists. That New Testament, it tests men. The words written in red over their head like exit. I don't know what left is, cause righteousness is my direction. They don't know who Christ is until they in crisis. I'm like, why are they like this? See, here's the problem with
mankind. They not fully connected like landlines. When you on the stage, know the light is still higher. Open this man's eyes to see what I'm saying like fan signs. The devil try to hit us with a snare like he plays sides, you know? Cause snare, they play sides. Words getting lost in the crowd like stage dives. Somehow I'm always with the chef like I make pies. These industry fake liars, Jezebel fake trying. Got David in our blood, we slay giants. I'm fighting with the stone like I make tires. How dare you speak against what is real, you fake guys. Now get this contact like fake eyes. Your intelligence is artificial like AI. So here is your answer like AI. Repent.
Never breaking ties with you. You've kept me through Alpha and the Omega. It's not you, then who? We say holy, 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 holy are you.
I can't sing, but I'm gonna praise the Most High. We're about to get ready to get into some things. This thing, it is still. This is not how I shaped you today.
Brothers out of Egypt, we ain't got us what we walk through the Red Sea with hands high, singing hymns. All praises to the Father, we done hit the gems, the chariot swinging low, he finna save us again. God did it, I won't he do it. Shamar need a new heart, I pray he get him through it. My mother need a new start, father need a steward. I'ma need forgiveness, but the Lord already beat me to it. He said your brother prayed on you.
Where's my pen?
So that we can carry all you. That's why I gotta stay strong till you hear the last trumpet. Chef, I'm only trying to warn you. You see nothing till you see me in my rap. That's family, that's blood bad. You remember what my songs do. Long as you keeping these laws in the faith, I prepared you a place where the nations can't come through. God did. It don't even matter.
Okay. Chapter 1. Slavery through the ages and across continents. When I get stressed, my stuttering starts coming back. And yeah. As with many historical themes, slavery is generally often oversimplified and Why am I? Bro, I'm about to read this in my head right now. I don't know. This week has been, I prayed for the Most High to break the demonic strongholds on my life. Bro and bruh. The boil is busted. Everything been falling out the closet. Lights is on. And it's shameful for the people involved. So my brain is, bruh. So I'm actually probably about to. The goal was, because I can't focus because it's wild. So the goal was to read it and then watch it back so I could process. But I can't even do that. So, or at least I'm probably about to get out here and see if maybe I can focus a little bit better. Because at least I'm not going to trip if I'm stuttering by myself.